So this is a movie that is intended to play as it did when I first saw it to my mother-in-law, my wife, and my kids, and they all loved it. You know, my mother-in-law is not going to come and see a boxing robot film if it's just that. So it's vital, I think, also because you've got robots. How do you feel for robots? Like, how do you actually get emotionally invested in it? And I think you do that through the people involved around it.
How hard is it to find those kind of movies when the studios want these big spectacles and they want to put the money there? And I'm sure they're asking people like you to be in those movies, but this one has heart and soul and a little spectacle. So is this a really rare to find?
Movies like this are very hard to find because it's one of the most difficult things to pull off. A movie that genuinely plays for my mother-in-law and my 6-year-old and 11-year-old kid, very difficult to pull off. I mean, Pixar seem to be doing well, DreamWorks Animation seem to be doing a good job, but there's not a lot of movies that do that. And I think that's why it's difficult and rare. And for me, I just connected to the story. It reminded me of Rocky when I was growing up, those sports sort of stories. It makes you feel good at the end. It's fun, it's entertaining, and you know, dare I say, might even bring a tear to the eye. You know,
Charlie, well, I was just going to say, but he's like an asshole at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. He's a terrible father.
Terrible.
And, you know, so it's really a story about redemption in a way, isn't it?
It is a total redemption type. Rocky is a standover guy who breaks your knees if you owe money. I mean, he's not like the high school teacher, you know, who gets a shot at the title. He's a bit like he's lost belief in himself, Charlie. He thinks the world has passed him over. He doesn't feel anything anymore because it's easier to live that way. When life is disappointing to you and you get hurt so much, you just end up switching off, you know. And I think that's something we can all relate to on some level, you know. So I think I fully expected us to be reshooting the movie after the studio saw it. I mean, look, they agreed with the script, they loved it, but you never know until you see it fully together if you've gone too far. And I really applaud kind of DreamWorks and, you know, Disney, who are distributing the movie as well, that they went for it.
Well, Sean said he applauded you because you were worried because Charlie's such a horrible father and so tough with this 11-year-old kid, he doesn't even know how old he is, that, you know, this is not the kind of thing, this is the kind of thing that could alienate an audience. And
right.
He said if it wasn't Hugh Jackman doing this, there'd be a big issue there.
I mean, I never worry about that. I mean, I have kind of no sense of what people think about or how that translates into a character. But regardless of me playing it, I think it's important to see there's something to be redeemed from. If it's a redemption tale, you have to see he's made mistakes and he's, you know, it has to be real in a certain degree. Plus, you know, there's a couple of things here. That relationship with Evangeline Lilly. You have to feel the history, and is this going to feel tried or stereotypical? With the boy, you know, how is that going to play out over a movie? How are we going to see them turn around without it feeling too saccharine or sweet or fake? You know, that's the biggest challenge of the movie.
Was it ever uncomfortable for you yelling at Dakota and being as mean as? Did you ever feel like you had to pull it back a little bit to have this character
yeah.
really redeemed?
And Sean kept pushing me to go further. And Dakota's a very polite, well-brought-up kid as well. So Dakota was kind of getting prodded as well, and several times I saw Dakota after cut look over to his mum like, no, they told me to say that. But truth be told, I kind of enjoyed it. First of all, I really like him a lot. I genuinely love Dakota as a great kid. Great actor. I love being with him. And I have kids. I have an 11-year-old. Literally, there's times you want to say things, you're like, and you just shove it back down inside. I've walked out of rooms. I've been so frustrated for fear of what I'm going to say in that mode, you know. And for 3 months, I was like, it all just came out. It was like,
has he seen it? Has your son seen this and said?
Absolutely, he loved it. He doesn't talk about the father and son. He did say to me, so can I drink sodas for breakfast now? But genuinely, he did not talk about it. That he just got racked up into the story of Adam. He loved that robot and that idea of that robot. Like, he saw the magic in that robot, just like, you know, Dakota's character does.
And Charlie also has this redemption as a fighter for the end. In
right.
that fifth.
And that to me, I thought was a stroke of genius. Like, it's so inventive the way you see him come into life again. And that moment, I'll never forget, as we were filming, and they're filming Dakota, and the camera's coming around the ring, and he's watching, like, getting into Adam, you know, coming back, fighting back, and then he catches his father out of the corner of his eye, and you to see it all go to Charlie, and then all of a sudden, there was not a dry eye on the monitor. Let me tell you, it's that, and to me, is singly one of the most powerful moments of this film because it's saying so many things about how we need our fathers to be at their best too. We need to see them fully alive, and in this moment you see him doing the thing he loves to do that no one else has allowed him to do. The world has said, we don't care about boxing, you're gone. So it's sort of, and that's another bit, like Anthony Mackie's character and Kevin Durant's character and my character, all boxers, and now they're just desperately trying to eke out a living, and they've been discarded, you know.
So,
I was just going to ask you, can you talk a little bit about working with Sugar Ray, and was he like brutally honest with you? And, what was the...
he comes from a boxing world. No one pulls punches to them, you know, the whole way. You know, they're told exactly the way it is. Mm-hmm. And that's the way he is too. He's very sweet-natured. Have you...
Yeah.
And ridiculously handsome. You can't believe that guy was ever hit. Like
he hasn't really aged.
He hasn't aged.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with you, man? It's unbelievable. And got it together and sweet, nice, and happy. And I'm like, you fought with Durant? Like, you know, this is... Anyway.
So what was
he was on... We talked a lot of... You know, I'd been doing some training when I saw him, and he was like, you got a little more work to do, pal. You know? So he was honest with me about that, and then he talked to me a lot.
You're in great shape.
No, but I needed to look like a professional boxer, thanks, cunt. Like a professional boxer. It was vital, not from just, I want a boxer to say, oh, yeah, it looks like he knows what he's doing. As I said, that's when he comes alive, that moment. You need to see him, you have to believe that moment.
In his face.
As he boxes. It's like his whole being comes alive again, you know, fully. And he also talked to me a lot about the corner man. About how he kept doing this to me, you know, he goes, man, and he'd be behind the monitor and I'd be right by the ring, you know, we're doing cameras on me, we're doing scenes, and he's like, he's like, he kept your strength through your eyes, the emotion through your eyes to that robot, to the human boxer is everything. I said that's going to allow the audience to believe in the robots. It's going to sell. Your strength is how strong your robot is.
Mm-hmm. Does your fight training from previous films come into play when you're working on this, or is it a whole new skill set that you have to learn?
This is different because it's traditional boxing. You know, the other film like Wolverine, you don't have to, you know, you don't always have to have your fists up, guarding your face and your chin to your chest. Wolverine's just got claws and takes your head off. You know, it's yeah, I had to be a little more specific about it.
And isn't this a difference for you for years? Since, I mean, you've been doing like action movies, it seems lately. This is...
Well, I haven't really done any movies for 2 years, so it's been nice. But
isn't, I mean,
yeah, this is nice.
Prestige
it's nice to be in an action movie, I suppose, where I'm not doing any of the action. It's kind of nice.
Why does, like, time after time, generation after generation, do boxing movies just work? Like, what do you think it is?
They don't all work, but I know what you mean. I think dramatically, it's such a perfect scenario. You have simple cast, two cast, you have a very confined space, you have clear delineation of victor and vanquished, you have probably the greatest test there is for a human in terms of mixture of courage, of heart, of mental acuity and relaxation and strength and brawn. It's like, that's why it's always been around, some form of it. I mean, football is just sanctioned boxing, really. I mean, it's all those things that we see nakedly. You got these guys that just wear shorts, they're not even wearing clothes. It's like all stripped down. So you see everything that's going on, and somehow the pressure of a fight we can all relate to is probably, all of us can feel your heart beating, imagining what it'd be like stepping into the ring.
What are